Hey guys, welcome in. I'm just here with a small update about my progress in Melty Blood. I started this YouTube channel for a few reasons, the most important being that I felt I needed to be heard. I've spent most of my life isolated, feeling like an outsider in a world never meant for me. In a cold universe that seemingly plans out, observes, and laughs at our suffering, I found comfort in art, namely books and video games. A figure in the gaming sphere I admire very much is Hideo Kojima. Perhaps you've heard of him. He started this little franchise called Metal Gear Solid. Anyway, one thing you'll notice about his works is that they have something very strong to say, not just about the price of war or society at large, but something personal, like his worst fears wrapped up in a convoluted romp that also reveals the truth behind his breakup with Konami and also predicted the pandemic. It's complicated. Why am I bringing up Kojima and isolation and Death Stranding in a video about Melty Blood, you might ask? Self-expression. One thing I never realized is how much the self is expressed in a fighting game. For years, books, video games, movies, and other forms of art have helped me understand the world around me, work through my emotions, and accept and deal with the harsh realities presented by the previously mentioned cold universe. Art helped me stay hopeful and taught me to be more resilient. It helped me learn to express myself, which is exactly why I'm a writer. In a fighting game, every emotion you have is expressed through your actions and reactions. When you doubt yourself, it shows. When you're focused, it shows. When you lack the motivation to push through, it shows. When you've put in the endless work to lab and perfect combos, it shows. And when you can't figure out how to keep a fucking combo going, believe me, that shows too. That frustration that you get when you drop combos, by the way, leads to anger, which will lead to being tilted, and once you're there, it's done. And once you've been beaten down a ton, well, your playstyle might adapt to that. You might become more cautious. Maybe you'll finally learn how to pass the knowledge checks. Press X to doubt. Maybe you'll manage to beat the person who taught you how to play. Maybe, just maybe, you'll learn something about perseverance. When I first started playing Melty Blood, I felt helpless, like a kid who'd been thrown into the wilds to survive on their own. Fighting games don't have normal tutorials, especially not if you're going up against a real person as opposed to the CPU. Josh taught me the basics and then proceeded to beat me into oblivion for months on end. It wasn't until I started labbing that I got some sense of the game, but what really ramped the experience up for me was turning Rapid Beat off. This changed everything. I went from being forced into the same combo and basically being encouraged to button mash, by the way, because when you have Rapid Beat on, I feel like it encourages you to button mash, but I digress. Anyway, I went from being forced into the same combos over and over to being able to change things up and learn new combos almost overnight. It was a rough road, one peppered with losses, a battered ego, and a lot of moments of self-doubt. I learned very quickly how much I dislike losing. Frustration and anger never, ever have helped me in gaming, by the way. In fact, those emotions tend to hold me back unless I channel them into pure focus. So that's what I did. Every loss fueled me to get better. I would spend hours practicing against the CPU, but that never truly prepares you for the challenges presented by a human opponent. Humans can be unpredictable. They can also get better with time. Just as much as you're practicing, well, they are too, maybe more. And when the person you're fighting against is already better than you, you've got an uphill battle. I learned a couple of key moves that eventually became a part of my main arsenal. You can see me figuring out my Dragon Punch and a few other bangers. Sorry, I don't know the technical terms for all the moves I use. And as I said, as I got better, so did Josh. He has a tendency to throw me around in this game. Something I got sick of real quick. During our bouts, I spent a lot of time trying to prevent him from comboing me into oblivion. Where I used to Ungo Bunga, I now had to block a lot. Defending against the constant pressure Josh serves becomes exhausting. Every second in these sets demands full cognitive attention. I can't slip up for a single moment. As my skills increased, Josh began to lose rounds. He started talking about how he could no longer make stupid mistakes. I was becoming harder to beat. After months of us practicing on and off, me labbing and trying to figure out how to do any simple damn combo, the results were me giving Josh a run for his money. And finally, I beat him. Not just one round, but both. I pulled out a real win. This became more consistent over time. That is, until Josh started perfecting his combos, and now we're almost on equal footing. Though I'd say that's mostly because I'm defending better, not because I know how to pull off a good combo. But maybe with time, I'll get there. The results of all this landed me with an incredibly cautious playstyle, one based almost entirely around Josh's, which probably isn't a good thing, but seeing as how he's my main opponent right now, it makes sense. I used to be aggressive, but Josh proved time and time again his aggression and adaptability would show me up, so now I'm constantly on the defensive. I have another friend I occasionally play with, but this guy is more skilled than me and Josh put together, so that's a slaughter that I will be covering in another video. For years, I avoided getting too into fighting games, the biggest reason being the small payoff despite hours and days and months of practice. I really like Tekken, it's one of my favorite fighting games ever, but it's not as demanding as a 2D fighter. Melty Blood is incredibly demanding. Training your reaction time, learning how to deal with constant pressure, matchup knowledge, understanding even the basic mechanics, this stuff isn't easy with any fighting game, but with 2D fighters, it seems a lot more in depth. And you can work at getting good for months and still be mediocre in these games. It's soul crushing. But much like everything else in life, perseverance pays off. Life isn't meant to be easy. It is a series of struggles, a road of glass shards one must traverse barefoot in order to reach the finish line. And what is your reward for finally finishing? Death. Life is depressing, it is absurd, it's sad, but hey, at least we got video games to get good at while we fumble across the broken glass.
You win.